New pressure on the former Prince Andrew this morning as UK police now say they're examining flight logs at a UK airport used by Jeffrey Epstein's private jet.
Newly released Epstein emails have placed the former Duchess of York back into the spotlight. These are the alleged messages and business troubles that have reignited scrutiny around her finances and judgment. Over the past few days, documents released by the US Department of Justice as part of the Epstein investigation have brought renewed attention to reported email exchanges between Sarah Ferguson and Jeffrey Epstein, with coverage led in part by Fox News, which highlighted specific excerpts and placed them back into public view. The focus here is not on new criminal allegations against her, because none have been reported in these releases, but on the tone of the emails, the language used, and what they reveal about her financial position at the time. At the centre of it all sits a 2010 email. According to the reporting, the former Duchess wrote to Epstein asking for a job. And the phrasing is what has caused such a stir, because she reportedly told him, "But why? I don't understand. Don't you just get me to be your house assistant?"
And his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson also now facing new questions. She's now shutting down 6 of her companies after the latest Epstein emails revealed her own close ties.
"I am the most capable and desperately need the money. Please, Jeffrey, think about it." Those words, particularly desperately need the money, have travelled quickly. By 2010, Epstein had already pleaded guilty in Florida and served time in the Palm Beach County Jail, which meant this correspondence, as reported, came after that conviction and sentence rather than before. That's an important point to make, as it really makes you question her judgment. Financial strain had followed the former Duchess for years. Following her 1996 divorce from the former Duke of York, she did not walk away with the kind of settlement the public often assumes accompanies royal separation. And over the years that followed, her media-linked ventures, commercial projects, and debts were often public headlines. By 2025, the fallout from Epstein-related revelations had already cost her patronages, with several charities and professional roles she once held. The newly highlighted documents also point back to 2009. During the period when Epstein was serving his jail sentence, Ferguson allegedly contacted him for advice about bankruptcy. And bankruptcy is not a word people use lightly, especially in her position.
One document shows she wrote to him after his 2009 release from prison for soliciting a minor, referring to him as the brother I had always wished for. She's yet to comment on the matter.
Reports at the time indicated she was weighing financial bailouts from 2 billionaires, and even considering selling her own jewellery to stay afloat. That combination paints a clear picture. The money situation was serious. March 2010 brings another email into focus. After Epstein asked about a trip to New York, she allegedly replied, "Not sure yet, just waiting for Eugenie to come back from a shagging weekend." Princess Eugenie was 19 at the time, and the tone of that message, casual and crude, has unsettled many royal watchers. A further 2009 exchange, also referenced in the reporting, involved a planned lunch. In that email, she reportedly wrote, "What address shall we come to? It will be myself, Beatrice and Eugenie." And the inclusion of both daughters' names in correspondence with Epstein has understandably drawn attention and discomfort. There are no new allegations of criminal wrongdoing against the former Duchess in these documents. What they show, based on what has been reported, is continued association with Epstein after his conviction, and an apparent reliance on him for advice and, in at least one instance, assistance.
I think you have to understand what's going on here. Gillen is possibly the most notorious prisoner in the US federal system today.
That assistance surfaced publicly in 2010. Epstein paid £15,000 directly to one of her creditors, and she later described accepting that help as a gigantic error of judgment, a phrase she used when addressing the matter publicly. In a 2011 interview with Oprah Winfrey, she spoke openly about her financial position and admitted, "I was in the gutter at that moment. which remains one of the clearest descriptions she has given of her circumstances. Recent developments add another layer. BBC News and CNN reported that 6 companies connected to the former Duchess are expected to close, and those companies are Phoenix Events, Fergie's Farm, La Luna Investments, Solomon Limited, Philanthropreneur Limited, and Planet Partners Productions Limited, with her listed as director for each one. Her charitable foundation, Sarah's Trust, also announced its closure for the foreseeable future following the latest filings and public scrutiny tied to Epstein material.
Jeffrey Epstein revealing she was regularly chasing money and attention from the convicted pedophile. The exchanges seemingly indicate that the disgraced ex-wife of Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor, was very attached to Jeffrey Epstein, telling him he was her pillar.
6 closures at once stand out. Businesses can be wound down for many reasons, from lack of activity to restructuring. Yet the fact that all 6 are expected to close has been widely noted in the same news cycle as these emails. Royal family dynamics have also shifted further in the wake of recent developments. Prince Andrew, who announced in October 2025 that he would give up his titles, including Duke of York, amid continued scrutiny over his connection to Epstein, still legally holds those titles because removing them requires parliamentary action. But Buckingham Palace removed his name from the official roll of the peerage. That means he no longer uses those honours publicly, and his status within the family has been sharply reduced. Meanwhile, both Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have kept low public profiles recently, though there have been notable appearances. Princess Eugenie was spotted in Qatar earlier this month, attending a major art event, Art Basel Qatar, which marked a rare public outing amid ongoing controversy around her parents. That appearance showed her continuing to maintain her own engagements, even as the Epstein story remains in the headlines. Reports from multiple outlets indicate that the sisters remain close to both their mother and father, but are also experiencing significant strain in their relationships with Andrew in particular, with sources describing their bond as very strained and hard in recent weeks. That tension reflects a broader challenge facing the siblings as they balance family loyalty with their own careers and public roles. Over decades, stories of loans, debts, and ambitious commercial ventures have followed her, and that pattern forms the backdrop to the present situation. Back in 2010, in a separate episode, she was filmed by an undercover journalist offering access to the former Duke of York for £500,000, and she later apologised for that incident as well, again calling it a serious error of judgment. In more recent years, the tone around her had, temporarily, softened.
She also wrote, "I am at your service, just marry me, and this, when are you going to employ me? Also, and phew, you still love me." Here's more from journalist Andrew Pearce.
Following breast cancer treatment in 2023, she received sympathy and public goodwill, speaking about resilience and health while appearing alongside members of the royal family in a way that suggested a period of relative stability. The resurfacing of these emails interrupts that steadier narrative. Although they do not introduce a new scandal, they provide additional detail about past associations and financial distress, and emails carry a different weight because they reflect unfiltered language rather than carefully prepared statements. For many viewers who have followed the royal family since the 1980s, this chapter feels like a continuation of an established storyline, one that combines moments of poor judgment with surprising financial vulnerability. The association with Epstein, given the seriousness of his crimes, continues to cast a long shadow over anyone connected to him. At present, there has been no new public statement from the former Duchess specifically addressing these latest document releases. In previous years, she expressed regret for her association with Epstein and acknowledged that accepting his help had been a mistake. But we've seen perhaps those statements were not as genuine as once believed. I find it shocking to see just how reliant she had become, and her willingness to overlook Epstein's crimes in order to benefit herself financially. More than that, It's frankly disturbing. Fergie, despite so much power and privilege at her fingertips, appears to have mismanaged her finances so bad through greed and poor judgment that she was at the point of begging for a job as a house assistant. As always, I want to hear from you. What do you think of these emails? If you would like continued coverage of royal news, do subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching.